a Palestinian child in one of the Israeli dungeons was starved to death. When I was in Palestine, I spoke to friends who had been imprisoned and released, and they described the horrors, just the horrific abuse in these dungeons. And they don't get visits by the International Red Cross. Nobody pays attention to it. And this is just a systematic devaluation of Palestinian lives and Palestinian rights. And so, yes, I will not stop speaking about it. Palestinians do have a right to resist. We need to focus on why they are resisting in the first place, because the world is supporting Israel's kind of evil, brutal colonial domination of Palestinian lives, and that needs to end.
Absolutely. And even the use of words, they say Palestinian prisoners versus hostages when they haven't even been charged by anything under administrative detention for many, many years. And this has been the playbook of the settler colony of Israel since its inception and even before that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, all these crimes Israel is committing, when you say prisoner, it's as if Palestinians have done something wrong. And as you mentioned, so many of them have not even been charged, and they spend months and years of their lives without being charged with anything, without even knowing why they're in, Israeli captivity. And then you have even the ones that have been charged. It's a militarized court system, which is not enough to say just a military court system, because people might not even understand that. But Palestinians live under Israeli military and are subjected to military law that does not grant them rights. Their rights are much, much less than Israeli civilians have in terms of their. So, for example, under Israeli military law, a Palestinian child, a 12-year-old child, can be taken from their home at gunpoint in the middle of the night. They can be abused. They don't have the right to have a parent with them. They don't have a right to speak to a lawyer, and they can be interrogated for days. A child taken at gunpoint by soldiers from their bed in the middle of the night. And then they can be prosecuted if that child said anything without a lawyer and without their parents, because they were terrified, because they're being beaten as they're interrogated. Then they will use that evidence against them to convict them and then throw them in prison. To convict them of what? Maybe throwing stones. Throwing stones, a Palestinian child can get up to 20 years in Israeli prison. Like, this is the kind of, and then that child is a prisoner, is not a hostage, is not. And so you think that with the use of that language, that they are criminal, that they have done something wrong. You're absolutely right.